Hello and welcome to this video. This is one of the most important chapters of this course, and it's about the Nimzo Indian with 4 Queen C2. Let's put the starting position on the board. So we have the Nimzo and Queen C2. Why is this so important? The main reason is that this is the most frequently played move, and it is also the most frequently played move on all levels of play. This is often an important distinction to make. Sometimes you see a line on the very top level and you say, okay, that looks to be the main line, they all play it, but it's never seen on a club level or typical tournaments that you would play. An example for that, for example, is the Berlin defense of the Ruy Lopez. This is an opening that's super important on the top level, but never seen in club chess. People just don't play it. While if people allow the Nimzo, Queen C2 is most frequently seen. There are different reasons for that. I think depending on the level of play. On the top level, they like to play Queen C2 because they want the bishop pair and want that without any concession. They're not necessarily afraid of the double pawn, let's say, and would also play e3, for example, not fearing a capture. But on the club level, many players simply want to avoid the double pawn at all costs and think, okay, Queen C2 is a way to do that. The upside of Queen C2 is definitely this particular aspect. You won't get the double pawn. The downside, and it has a clear downside, is it takes a bit of time. The queen moves early on move 4 and will spend another move to recapture on c3 in almost all variations, and then the queen will often be somewhat exposed on c3. So white is trading time for structural integrity and the bishop pair. That means we have to be quite clear about our own goals. We cannot just give up the bishop pair for no structural compensation or some other compensation. And our compensation here has to be development. So we want to open up the position quickly and try to prove that white lost too much time in the process of getting the bishop pair. With our repertoire approach of combining the Nimzo and the Ragozin, you would expect a d5 based answer to Queen C2, and in fact our reply is exactly that. However, we are not opting for the immediate d5 in this position. Those two moves, castles, that is our recommendation, and d5, they can lead to the same position. If you play d5 and white plays a3, which is one of the main continuations, then castles would lead to a position that is quite a cornerstone of our recommendation. We reach this position after castles, a3 takes, and d5. So there are two ways to this position. The main difference between the two is that after the immediate d5, going back to this, white can also take. And this leads us to entirely different types of positions. After takes, queen takes is a possibility, but completely different to all other variations that we have in the repertoire. After bishop g5, this looks a little bit like a Ragozin, but the difference is that there is no knight on f3, and this is a distinct difference. This is not a terrible line for black, but we thought that in comparison it makes more sense to castle first and go to the main line in a different move order. What you allow with castling, that is an important thing to recognize, that white now does not have to play a3 but has some alternatives like knight f3 or e4. So there's a difference in both lines, d5 and castles, what you allow, what you prevent. It's a bit of a trade-off, let's say. We need to mention though that if you learn castles according to this repertoire, the main line might also rise from 4d5. So this is an easy later addition to your repertoire if you like. So you just have to learn a couple of sidelines against 4d5 to make this work as well. So after Queen C2, our recommendation is to castle. Now, the overwhelming main move. This was a free preview of our anti-1d4 course based on the Nimzo Indian and Ragozin, available on chessable.com. Thanks for watching and see you soon.